Kia ora koutou. This morning at 7:23 a.m, a witness called police to report a man with a gun shooting in central Auckland at a building on Lower Queen Street. At 7:34 a.m, police arrived on the scene and the Armed Defenders Squad arrived there 4 minutes later. It's with deep sorrow that I can confirm that 2 people have been killed. At this stage, I'm aware that 6 others have been injured, including police. They've been taken to Auckland Hospital. Police have also confirmed that the shooter is also dead. The assessment from officials is that there is no national security risk. There is no change to New Zealand's national security threat level. This is the information that we're able to share so far. The offender was armed with a pump-action shotgun. He moved through the building site, discharging the firearm as he went. Upon reaching the upper levels of the building, the man contained himself in an elevator. Shots were fired and he was located a short time later. I want to thank the brave men and women of the New Zealand Police who ran into the gunfire straight into harm's way in order to save the lives of others. These kind of situations move fast, and the actions of those who risk their lives to save others are nothing short of heroic. I also want to acknowledge the ambulance first responders who were there quickly on the scene this morning. This is still an ongoing police operation, and I've got limited further information that I can provide at this time. Police will be providing further updates during the day. Shortly I'll be leaving to travel to Auckland to join Police Commissioner Andrew Costa, who is also on his way to the scene. Clearly, with the FIFA World Cup kicking off this evening, there are a lot of eyes on Auckland. The government's spoken to FIFA organisers this morning and the tournament will proceed as planned. I want to reiterate that there is no wider national security threat. This appears to be the actions of one individual. Aucklanders and those watching around the world can be assured that the police have neutralised the threat and that they are not seeking anybody else in relation to the incident. New Zealanders' safety and the safety of our visitors is our first priorities. Whilst there's limited further information that I can share, I will take a few questions.
Say that the police neutralised the threat. Did the police kill the offender?
I do not have that information.
Was the offender wearing an ankle bracelet, and if so, how were they able to get into that building with a pump-action shotgun?
I'm not able to share any information about the identity or the details of the individual shooter. Obviously, police are working to confirm information, and as soon as they're in a position to share that information, they'll do that.
The 2 other people that were killed, the 2 other people that were killed, do you know whether they were civilians or police officers?
My understanding is civilians at this point.
Can I just confirm, I know you say there's no national security risk, but given that the gunman is dead, was it an act of terror? Is that what motivated the shooting? So my understanding from the advice that we've received so far is that there was no identified political or ideological motivation for the shooting and therefore no national security risk. Was the gun licensed?
I'm not in a position to be. Obviously, at the moment, the regime is not for gun licensing; it is for the individual to have a licence, and police will be working to confirm details about whether the individual had a gun licence.
Did he work at the construction site?
I don't have that information. Brent?
Given where the shooting took place, is there any sense it was the result of an employment or contractual dispute that might have?
We don't have any information about what the actual motivation was, other than that the police have not identified any, ideological or political motivation for this. As soon as they're in a position to share more information, I'm sure that they will do that. Just on the CBD itself, the advice that we've had from police is that they'll be looking to narrow the cordon as quickly as they can to get the CBD back up and running now that the threat has been removed. Luke.
Today's FIFA World Cup events, they're all going to go ahead as per.
Yes, they are. We've got the Minister for Sport here if you've got further questions about that, but we have been in regular contact with FIFA. They are proceeding as planned. There'll be an increased police presence, obviously, around Auckland to provide public reassurance, but the police have indicated that they don't think there is an ongoing security or safety risk.
Have you had any conversations with any world leaders? I mean, the teams that are here, is there any concern that any players, any teams might pull out or not want to stay as a result of what's happened?
I might ask the Minister for Sport to come and comment on the conversations that he's had with the FIFA organisers, who obviously will be in more of a position to share details on that. I've not, at this point, it's obviously only a few hours old, I haven't had any communications from other world leaders.
Yeah, thanks, Prime Minister. I've spoken this morning to the President and Secretary General of FIFA. They passed on, firstly, their condolences to all those impacted by the incident this morning, and indeed to all New Zealanders. As the Prime Minister's already said, the tournament will go on and tonight's game will be played. The FIFA organisers, the police are already, up until this point, have been embedded within the FIFA organisational structure as just part of the normal organisation of the tournament, so there is very close cooperation there. There are a number of teams, as you'll be aware, who were staying in the immediate area. They are all safe and sound, and as the cordon moves in, they will go about the normal business of today for them. For some of them, that involves playing this evening. For others, that involves moving to other locations in New Zealand to play their games. So they will, in the course of the next few hours, do what they were always going to do, go to training, go to play, and so on.
Do you know how many teams were within that cordon and have been impacted?
I'm aware of one team that was in a hotel that was immediately around the corner from the building, and obviously it's downtown Auckland, and pretty much all of the hotels have people associated with the tournament. I beg your pardon? Oh, I'm not going to go into that now.
Fan zones in that sort of general area that has been evacuated, that's going to open as scheduled?
Obviously that's up to the police as they reduce the cordon, but yes, you're correct, the fan zone is there, plus some other people who are involved in the organisation of the tournament. Obviously, once the police move to reduce the cordon, they will definitely return.
Minister, do you have any detail about the condition of the 6 people who were injured?
I haven't got any further detail other than what the ambulance teams have provided so far publicly.
We've already seen images of one police officer, which looks like to the face from an uneducated viewpoint. Do you have any more details about how many of those 6 are injured police officers?
Not that I don't have any confirmed information that I can share on that. The Police Commissioner, as I've indicated, I think he may even be in Auckland by now. He was relocating directly to Auckland, and we'll be doing an update later in the morning from Auckland, so he'll be the first to be able to provide more detailed police information.
And still critically injured and 3 moderately injured, is that correct?
That's certainly that's what I've seen from the statements that have been issued by the ambulance staff, and I haven't got anything to add to the statements that they've made.
Will you still be attending tonight's opening game?
Obviously, I'll keep that under review depending on how the situation unfolds.
Do you know?
Yeah.
Given everything that you know so far, do you think there's any way this could have been prevented?
I don't have any information to form a judgment on that at this point.
But do you know whether the 2 deceased were construction workers or whether they were people going to work in the CBD?
I don't have any information on that at this point.
Is there any more information you have about the shooter that you can share?
No, sorry.
Do you know whether this incident has any connection to the Albany stabbing incident?
As I've indicated, there's no national security factor that's been identified here.
And can you just confirm whether you're unable to share details of whether the shooter was in an ankle bracelet or whether we simply don't know that at this stage?
I'm not in a position to share any information about the offender. Police will be in the best position to be able to share the information that they have been able to confirm, hopefully later on this morning. But that's ultimately a matter for police because it is an active police investigation.
And do you know whether the loved ones and family of the deceased have been informed yet?
I haven't got that information yet.
Is there any delay in police getting there? It's 11 minutes.
The police Eagle helicopter was pretty much immediately dispatched, was en route within 3 minutes of the call being received. The on-the-ground police arrived within 11 minutes, the armed defenders squad within 4 minutes after that. On arriving, I'm advised that the police heard gunshot. The police first on the scene were hearing gunshots as they arrived on the scene. And as I say, I want to acknowledge the bravery of New Zealand police who walked directly into that.
On a diplomatic level, Prime Minister, have you made any phone calls this morning, or have you left that to the High Commissioner level to liaise and reassure with some of the countries that have got teams here?
Yeah, the whole New Zealand diplomatic apparatus will obviously be sharing information as we can confirm it, including they will immediately be sharing with others around the world the fact that we haven't identified a national security, an ideological or a political motivation here.
And what is the AOS? I know that there's been debate about the location of that specialist service. Given that it was in the CBD, obviously they were able to get there quicker. Does this make you and perhaps the police minister rethink some of the allocation of those resources?
I think it's just too early to even speculate on those sorts of things. Jo?
I mean, this is a horrific incident on any day, but obviously it's a world stage day for us and a lot of eyes on us. Can you just give us a run through of your reaction when you first heard about this, when you heard about it, how you heard about it, and what went through your head?
So I was at the airport. I was heading to Hamilton today to make an announcement, which my ministerial colleagues are now doing. So the first reports arrived not long after I'd arrived at the airport. I tried to confirm as much information as I could whilst at the airport, made the decision to come back here to the Beehive so that I could get a detailed briefing directly from the police. Obviously, my first initial reaction was concern for anybody who was at risk. I know from my work with them as Minister of Police that when these things happen, the entire Blue whānau feel this. And so in any incident like this, where police are in harm's way and where any police may have been injured, obviously that is a huge concern, and that is something that I think all New Zealanders will feel. We rely on our police, our frontline police, to put themselves in harm's way to keep us safe. And when any incident like this happens, I think that we will all feel that, and we will all, I guess, send our love and support to the New Zealand police who are doing an amazing job.
Was that your call, a gut decision that you needed to come back and get a briefing?
Yes.
And to those who are visitors to New Zealand who may be here for the first time and, you know, guests in Auckland, what is your message to them about this?
That the risk has been contained. New Zealand is welcoming people here. We are excited about hosting the FIFA World Cup. Obviously, this has been a very grim morning for us, but we are committed to hosting this tournament. There is no ongoing risk here. The police have not identified any ongoing risk. We will have a very active police presence to provide that reassurance.
And to New Zealanders who are watching this unfold, this feels very foreign. This doesn't happen much here in New Zealand, and feeling quite unsafe about it. So what is your message to them?
My message to them is follow the guidance of the police. The police were very rapidly on the scene. The police have contained this situation. All New Zealanders will feel for the victims in this case. We will all feel for the New Zealand police. It's too early to form other judgments about it. Let's get the details. Let's understand exactly what's happened here first.
On a personal level, this looks like it's getting you, it's hitting you. Why is that? Is it the police involvement? Is it that it feels so foreign? Can you talk to me about that?
I think any situation where innocent people have lost their lives is something that should upset political leaders, and it should upset New Zealanders.
Is gun violence on the rise here?
I don't want to get into the wider political situation at the moment. Obviously, there'll be plenty of time for wider commentary about it. Right now, I think our message needs to be of condolence to the victims and to their family, of support to the New Zealand police, and of a reassurance that the public are safe, that the police have this situation under control.
So what does the timeline of the rest of today look like? Well, when can we expect to hear from the Commissioner, from maybe yourself again, as the day goes on?
As I've indicated, the Police Commissioner was in Christchurch, I believe, this morning and has headed directly to Auckland. I'll be heading up to Auckland shortly, as will the Minister of Police. as the Minister of Sport will be continuing his ongoing liaison with FIFA, and will be heading up to make sure that all of the arrangements for tonight are well taken care of. As soon as the Commissioner of Police is in a position to share more information, I know that he's committed to doing that, and he'll be the right person to brief on behalf of the police or anybody who he chooses to delegate to do that. So they will be in a position to share on more information about what is obviously a very active and very high-profile police investigation.
So there might be a minute's silence or anything at the game tonight?
There are conversations taking place now about how best to acknowledge what has happened. Last question, Claire. Yeah.
Have you had any information on whether the style of pump-action shotgun was one of the banned guns or a gun that isn't banned under the reforms?
No, I haven't. I did ask a few questions about the nature of the shotgun. There are some pump-action shotguns that could still be legitimately purchased. I don't have information on whether the firearm in question falls into that category or into the category of one of the banned weapons. I haven't got that information.
Do you further look at the gun reforms and see whether any more?
It's just too early to tell at this point. Thanks, everybody.